Hey guys, it's Keith. So I'm recording in Berlin. Apologies for any audio or technical difficulties here. Um, I'm trying to keep up with the news. I get my news on Reddit and I try to follow different kinds of subreddits so that I get a broad range of information channeled to me through various biases. It's very hard to get objective information. So I think it's more important to just be aware of how things are spun. So I'm going to talk today about this presidential debate between Donald Trump and, let me try and pronounce her name properly, Kamala, not Kamala. I actually can't remember which one is correct, but I was chided recently by a liberal buddy, progressive buddy, who thought I was like dog whistling by saying her name wrong. I think it's Kamala. Apologies if I don't keep it great. And I guess if she becomes a major figure in history, I will have it correct at some point. But yeah, there was a debate. I did not watch it. You tell me if this is like the main story from it, but I guess it is. So we're going to look at a few different tabs that I have open that you can see on the left. I want to just kind of go through a narrative that I'm seeing and break down how I personally make meaning out of all this. So I'm on the subreddit Politics, Our Politics, which is one of the biggest subreddits, and it's very left-leaning. And there's a lot of stuff about how she definitely won the debate, and it's a lot of like self-congratulations on the left, which is fine. I don't like have a problem with that. I think it's interesting how like they have an auto moderator, so every time a post is made, this says, as a reminder, this subreddit is for civil discussion. Be courteous, etc. And then the first comment is, Trump doesn't just need to be defeated. His entire movement needs to be destroyed. His loss needs to be overwhelming and embarrassing. Keep the momentum going. Let's grind them into the dirt. And I can appreciate where this person is coming from, but that's just not what I consider civil discussion. I feel this way about certain movements as well. Like, I do think that bad ideas need to be defeated. So I'm not disparaging the left or trying to attack the right so vigorously. It makes sense to me. I don't see Trump as this kind of existential threat that so many people do. I don't hate him the way people do. I'm a bit indifferent. I can understand his appeal. I do think he gives voice to people that actually crave a voice and do not feel represented by the establishment, which is left-leaning in a lot of ways. So I just wanted to point that out, that I do care about civility, and maybe that sounds, I don't know, traditional or conservative or white supremacist or something, but I think it's important to hear the other side fully. And I'm recording this in Berlin, and I'm I'm a bit aware right now of local politics here and how the far-right movement of AfD is winning elections in East Germany, and how scary this is for people because they think that this entire movement is just racist, against immigration, yada, yada. And I think that immigration needs to be understood in a much more nuanced way than to just blindly accept all immigration or else you're racist. I think that is such a superficial, terrible, unsophisticated take. And I think that this debate kind of exemplifies that. So let's get into it. Apparently, like, this is the major topic from this debate, dog eating, cat eating, eating pets. And this is posted in Our Politics, of course. It's a left-leaning way of framing this. Cat ladies and dog eating. MAGA can't quit their weird talk about pets. They don't want to talk about Project 2025 or Donald himself or anything real. So it's more of the same old tired playbook. Say crazy things and try to distract from the issues. So this is a very dismissive attitude that the left has in general, I would say. Like, oh, they don't want to talk about real things, so make up some crazy things. Is that really what's happening? Let's find out. Another post from Our Politics. Nobody's eating cats. Nobody's eating dogs, says John Legend. Haitian immigrants deserve grace. Who the hell cares what John Legend has to say about this? And another reminder for civil discussion. You may have heard of Springfield, Ohio this week. In fact, if you watched the debate, we were discussed by our presidential candidates, including a very special, interesting man named Donald Trump. Legendary. It sounds like high schoolers are putting kid in litter box stat out from BS. I can hardly even have a conversation with Republicans anymore. This is what makes me very frustrated. I'm not a Republican or even conservative, but I'm certainly not a far leftist or maybe even not a Democrat. So I have like a very low tolerance for this kind of dismissive attitude. Like, I can't even talk to people on the other side. They are so ridiculous. Like, that's bad. That is a bad attitude to have about people that you share a world with. But I just think this is such a silly, like, why is this even news? Trump now drags geese into the insane pet eating conspiracy. And then this kind of, very unflattering photo of Donald Trump. And as a reminder, this subreddit is for civil discussion. People eat geese, that's normal. Claiming that marginalized or minority or generally outside groups eat pets is a form of very, very old racism. I actually kind of support this message. I think that, I eat ducks. Ducks are great. I wouldn't eat your duck. I've even gotten into like a funny family discussion with my aunt Daphne, who is a very, very progressive person in law and education, and she is such a big animal lover that like her and my dad and their family had a pet duck once growing up, and whenever I go out to dinner and the duck is on the menu, I started getting excited because I love Peking duck, I love duck orange, I love fried duck in Vietnamese and Thai food. But I wouldn't order it with her because she just thinks that I'm eating her pet. And I do think it's kind of, I don't think it's racist to be upset about like different cultures eating dogs or something. It is just a different cultural thing. But I think at heart of this topic of immigration and this thing about eating pets is this cultural divide. And this needs to be talked about honestly and maturely. I accept, broadly speaking, different kinds of cultural influences around me and in my life. I bring into my life the things that I like about other cultures. I reject other things because I don't obviously have to take in everything. But we're not like having this discussion properly in my... So now let's actually watch this clip of the debate and get into what we're actually talking about here. So this is all I've seen from the debate, but I think it's enough to really get into here. Apologies if the audio is off a little bit. Here, let's try this.
Eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
And ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals.
What did you do? Before I get into this body cam footage, I just want to make a few comments about what we've looked at. You hear Donald Trump saying things, and I'm going to break down his words, and then you see Kamala like, what? What have you even been talking about? And this is like this dismissive attitude of the left, of it's like, you are so off base, you are so crazy, you're not talking about real issues. And I find that very unprofessional. I find that very uncivil to just be like, whatever, you're crazy. Like if somebody is telling you something that they think is wrong, you should really try and understand what they mean by that. That's how I feel. Like in my personal life, like if I had told my girlfriend, like, what are you talking about? You're being crazy. I did not do that. But she is like seriously adamant, like she's upset. Like that's toxic. That is toxic to be that dismissive of somebody saying something. And these are two people wearing suits trying to represent the world at large. USA anyway, and that's how they're behaving. And then we have I forget this guy's name, but my girlfriend loves him. Let's see the actual body cam footage here.
Smile for me.
Wild. You got that go behind.
Did you eat that cat? Did you eat it? No, why'd you kill it? Did you guys see all this? Did you see her eat that? She was eating that?
Okay. Now, let's look at this headline first. I'm on the subreddit RFK Jr. for President. RFK Jr. was running as a Democrat. He's like an independent. He's like a free thinker, and like whatever you want to say. I related to him as a candidate more so than Kamala, or Donald Trump. And he's now like endorsing Trump, which I think is weird. I wouldn't have guessed that. And I do not plan to vote for Trump, for the record. But this headline kind of disturbs me. There's literally body cam footage. Now, when I read that, I'm thinking, okay, of the person eating a cat. But no, it's not body cam footage of the person eating a cat. It's just body cam footage of the, officer on the scene. But they're talking about it, and there's people saying that it happened. And they'll still gaslight you. This is referring to the left, who's like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. No one's eating cats. Okay, so this isn't that helpful, in my opinion. But when I dug into this a bit, there is body cam footage and testimonies from residents. The elitist gaslighting is infuriating. And this is something I really have sympathy for. Like, I really disdain being told that my concerns are invalid. Okay, so I dug into that. And there are speeches by residents of Springfield, Ohio. This one's on the conspiracy subreddit. Take that for what you will. But this footage I actually found is real. Pull this up.
I'm done with what I'm seeing. It is so unsafe in my neighborhood anymore. I have the homeless that were trying to camp out, and I will make concessions with them, and I try to help them the best I can to keep them from trying to squat on my property. But it is so unsafe. I have men that cannot speak English in my front yard screaming at me, throwing mattresses in my front yard, throwing trash in my front yard.
Okay, let's dissect what we're looking at here. This is like a town hall meeting of residents. Now, I have a feeling that a lot of people on the left, in that subreddit politics, for instance, would very much dismiss this woman as being a white, racist lady who has to emphasize that they don't speak English. She's just being intolerant of other cultures or something like this. And I think that attitude is so maddeningly elitist and dismissive and classist, because the working poor are really at the heart of this zeitgeist that we're exploring here. The working poor are the ones that are most adversely affected by immigration, because immigrants compete for work with the working poor. They also compete for housing in the housing crisis that we have in various cities. And I have a very hard time accepting that Democrats, who allegedly represent the working class, alienate the working poor. It's not acceptable to me. Now, this woman, make of her what you will, but she is saying real things. And again, if you picture this person as your friend or your partner, are you just going to dismiss them? Like, what are you talking about? You're just a crazy racist. Those people are fine. Leave them alone. They deserve to be in your yard.
And I can't. Look at me. I weigh 95 pounds. I couldn't defend myself if I had to. My husband is elderly, and last night, after living in this home for 45 years, he said, Noelle, guess what? It's time to pack up and move. Please, give me a reason to stay.
You guys are just sitting up there. So, like, I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something.
I love how you use the word insouciant. This is a black man from Ohio. Harder to call him racist, but still couldn't be described as working class, possibly.
These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into sleeping cars in the middle of the street. I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from it.
Okay, so this is the thing. Like, this is a culture clash of immigration into sort of melting pot idea of a place. And this happens in Germany too. It is a valid question how to integrate immigrants, how many immigrants to take from which places to bring in immigrants. Haiti is a very struggling, developing country. It's a poor nation. It shares an island with the Dominican Republic, which is by and large successful. Haiti is not successful. All of these people are essentially darker-skinned minorities in the West, so to speak. It's black people that, I don't even know what that has to do with anything. Like, this guy is black. It has nothing to do with race, so let's just dismiss this right away. And now I want to go back to the actual content of this moment in the debate. Let's just listen to this again, what Trump actually says.
Eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there.
No, this is like a famous or a notorious thing about Trump. Like, people that support him will give him the benefit of the doubt and try and understand what he really means, whereas people that hate him will try and take him at the literal worst way of hearing what he says. So I've talked to a friend recently about this topic, for instance, and it's like, he's calling all immigrants these like dog-eating animals. No, he's not saying that. He's talking about a story that he's heard based in facts that we're going to find more about. And he's maybe talking irresponsibly. He's not being clear with his language. He's not saying there is a story of a Haitian immigrant eating a pet. He's not framing it like that. He's being a bit too loose, fast and loose with his language. He's saying they're eating. And so liberals will say, not all immigrants are eating. Yeah, obviously not all immigrants are eating pets. And we could talk about even if it's okay to eat pets. We'll get into that in a second. But Kamala is kind of like being dismissive, like, they are not. Who are you talking about? Don't be racist. And I just think that this is like a very unhelpful way to have a discussion. It is a militarized, defensive way to have a debate or a discussion. And then if I was Kamala here, I would be on stage thinking, what do you mean exactly? Who's they? What have you heard? Let's get into it. Is there an immigrant eating a pet? Was that person even an immigrant? What scares you about this? Is this an issue about assimilation? Should we not be taking people in from Haiti? This is why I think we should be taking in from people from Haiti. But no, the left just says, MAGA is just obsessed with this pet eating thing. They don't care about real issues. Like, you guys are not listening. You are not listening to the other side. And it really upsets me because there is a lot of nuance here that people are just glossing right over. Here's an actual headline. Now, it's on Fox News. I was looking up, like, how this person was being covered. And it's like TMZ, Miami Herald, First Post, Times of India, Times Now. I don't know most of these publications, so I'm going to Fox News. I know it has a bias. But sometimes the left just doesn't cover a story. That doesn't mean that Fox News is making it up. Ohio woman facing charges after allegedly killing cat, eating it in front of witnesses. Alexis Talia-Farrell is charged with injuring animals, prohibitions concerning companion animals, and disorderly conduct. So that's like a real story. Now, I don't even know if this person is Haitian. You know, like, there's so many like ways to get tangentially like distracted in this kind of story. It's like, are we talking about immigration? Are we talking about cruel and unusual behavior or something like this? Like, what are we even talking about? And so it's very easy to get distracted in this way. I find this to be really good satire, though, on the topic. This is reposted. I don't know where this comes from originally, Twitter, I guess. But this guy is making a sort of political satire here. The left. No one is eating people's pets, which means we're 1 week away from, why do you care that people are eating pets? 3 weeks away from, why eating pets is a good thing. And 4 weeks from, refusing to eat pets is white supremacy. And like, how far off is this? You know what I mean? Like, literally, I'll remind you. This is more like, this headline right now is kind of similar to, no one is eating people's pets. Why do you care that they're eating pets? You know, like, this literal quote, why do you care that people are eating pets, looks exactly like Aga can't quit the weird talk about pets. But sure enough, claiming that marginalized or minority or generally outside groups eating pets is a form of very, very old racism. So it's like literally true that like, this is literally what like leftists will say. Like, no one's eating that. That's like what Kamala's face was. Why do you care that people are eating? You guys are obsessed. You're so crazy. why eating pets is a good thing and refusing to eat pets is white supremacy. It's so racist to say that. Like, this is literally how the left responds to the right. And I think that this is why Donald Trump could win the presidency. It is because the swing state that decide this election are voters of lower income who feel ignored and disparaged and called racist. And that is how you lose an election, Democrats, by calling people racist, by dismissing their concerns. And I just think it's insane. I think it's insane. And I just want to close with one more insane thing about Democrats. This is from CNN. So I think you guys have to give this some credence. This is, a left-leaning, very big news source. I want to watch this. This is, again, about kind of immigration, but also like the left's obsession with weird things. If you're going to say that the right is obsessed about eating cats and dogs, let's look at what the left cares about.
So in 2019, in what Kate filed, she said she was cut funding to ICE, writing, quote, "Our immigrant detention system is out of control, and I believe we must end the unfair incarceration of thousands of individuals, families, and children. I was one of the first senators after President Trump was elected to advocate for a decrease in funding to ICE. Well, now, we're touting the Biden administration's executive order to crack down on the border. Kate files Dr. Kaczynski joins me now. Andrew, that's pretty incredible on its own when you're talking about what you found here on ICE. Well,
yeah, as was a questionnaire that I filled out for the ACLU, and this questionnaire is really an interesting snapshot in time of that 2019 Democratic primary. Kamala Harris was trying to get to the left of Bernie Sanders. She was trying to get to the left of Elizabeth Warren, and really see that had a lot of honest answers. And I want to walk our viewers through a little bit of what she said. Let's just take immigration and look at what she said here. She said on immigration, she made this open-ended pledge to end immigrant detention. She said she supported taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for detained migrants. She also said
taxpayer-funded gender
for detained migrants.
She actually said
she both wrote and answered in the affirmative when she was asked. And she said she also supported work for federal prisoners. Now, she also pledged to slash immigration detention by 50%. Close.
Okay, so they go into Kamala Harris's policies, and maybe I'll focus on those and another video. For the record, I don't care too much about Kamala Harris's actual beliefs and policy suggestions because she's clearly a career politician that'll say anything that sounds popular or gets her ahead. She'll pander to the far left in a Democratic primary, and then she'll pander to moderates in a mainstream primary or mainstream election. So I think she's just a figurehead for the Democratic brand generally, and so I don't really mind her personal takes on whatever topic, but I do find it amazing that she wants to use tax money to fund gender transitions, not just generally, but specifically for the detained illegal migrants. Like, that is like the most crazy left-sounding headline. And I think that this is just so on point because to my Succession fans out there, you'll recall that in the credits for Succession, the opening credits, I can't remember which season's from, but this headline on this, ATN, which is like the Fox News of Succession, gender fluid illegals may be entering the country twice, which I just think was such a brilliant, satirical headline by the Succession writing staff. And it's like, you couldn't write more rage bait of a headline than transgender operations on illegal aliens who are in prison. And I just think that's so funny that and Kamala actually endorsed that. That's wild. So I think you have both sides. It's very easy to pick on Republicans as these obsessed people about immigration, being racist about eating cats and dogs. And then you look at the left and it's like, you guys are obsessed with gender transition and coddling prisoners who possibly have committed crimes crossing the border. It's really wild. So I just don't think that we're having a civil discussion in general politically. And I think it's a real shame. And everyone that I basically talk to is very dug into their side. Like, I'm on the left and I hate Donald Trump. Therefore, everything he says is racist, and he's totally generalizing, and that's so irresponsible of him and dangerous. And that's why it doesn't really matter what Kamala thinks or believes. We just have to get her in because she's a good person and he's bad. And then on the right, it's like leftists are so obsessed with transgenderism. They want to brainwash all of our kids, yada, yada. But I have to say, there is actually more basis for people on the right and their concerns. And they are, by and large, the ones that are being dismissed on a national and international dialogue level. And so, to me, as much as maybe Kamala won the debate, I think that even that headline that she won the debate, I think it alienates a lot of the swing state voters who will end up deciding this election. And if you guys want a world of, peace and equality and open borders, you better not alienate the people that have to share space with everyone else. Like, I just think it's wild that this is what's happening. So anyways, those are my thoughts on the debate. I mean, to me, I don't know if Kamala won. I don't even know what that means to win a debate and if that matters. But the trend, to me, look like the establishment left is continuing to alienate the most important voter base in the U.S., which is marginalized, working class, poor people in swing states. This is not how you win them over. All right, guys. Until next time. Ciao.